Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to another ServiceNow community live stream. I have knocked the right tab on the screen. There we are. Let's fix that. My name is Chuck Tomasi from ServiceNow. I am the ServiceNow guy with the red bow tie, and I am here to share with you whatever I can find in the community. It is a random potpourri of problem solving. Ooh, I like the alliteration on that. I'm going to have to write that down and keep it. I am just going to go through and look for things related to the platform, related for developers, related to integrations, or any other topics that I think I might be able to help, and share that with you. Not only share the answer, but how I get to that answer, and help you to understand what the methodologies are. Along the way, give you tips and tricks and hints and shortcuts and best practices and etiquette, all that other good stuff that goes into the community. What makes this what I feel is one of the greatest let me retract that. Makes this the greatest online community in the internet. This is a wonderful place to hang out and learn. And another great place to hang out and learn is, let me put that away, make me a little smaller, and show you developer.servicenow.com, which looks like this. It's got some stuff up there. We have learning plans out there. You can go get a free developer instance with Istanbul, Jakarta, or Kingston. And when London comes out, we'll get rid of Istanbul and make it Jakarta, Kingston, London. You can get early access to whatever the latest release is, which is always nice and fun. Do a quick audio check. Things look good over there. All right. Yesterday we had an issue with the microphone, but it was quickly rectified. Want to make sure we didn't still have that. There are meetups. If you look under events, we have meetups all over the world. I think we're up to 35, 37 different chapters. It's crazy. There is a developer days going on right now in Santa Clara, and I believe there are more planned for later this year. There is a webinar on the 22nd. We'll be doing a Tech Now webinar. I, along with Dave Slusher and Craig Stepp, will be talking about custom application methodologies and lots of other good stuff. Go over to developer.servicenow.com. If you haven't already, go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, the community YouTube channel over at youtube.com/user/ServiceNow community. We also transmit this simultaneously to Twitch over at NOWCommunity on Twitch TV. So if you're there, looks like we've got a viewer. I know we had some strange YouTube issues yesterday, and a couple of people were trying Twitch just in case. Good morning. SPH Music Video says, did you ever name the robot? Where did my robot go? He was sitting right here. Oh, I moved him closer to the monitor. Pardon this odd camera angle. This guy, the little robot with the red bow tie, he needed a name. I never decided on one. I'm still taking entries. I think I'll do that for another couple of weeks, and we'll see how that goes. I moved him up closer to the monitor because I got a new dust cover for the big mixer. I thought it was time. I was constantly dusting this thing off, and if you know your electronics, you know that dust doesn't get along well with electronics, especially when you get it in the faders. This thing is several years old, although it is still high-tech and digital. Good morning to you, Aspen Now Solutions. We've got some regulars that are hanging out with me this morning on YouTube. Fort Lauderdale chiming in. Good to see you. Jay Freeze, don't know who's on the Twitch channel yet, but good morning to you. Give me a shout out if you are on YouTube or Twitch. Love to hear from you there. Another quick announcement that I discovered yesterday. Oh, by the way, Happy Pi Day. This is 3/14 in the U.S. I know we do things a little backwards from the rest of the world when it comes to date. Happy Pi Day to everybody out there, 3.14. And if you happen to catch it at the right time of the day, you can also get in the 3.14159265 is somewhere in there this afternoon. The other thing I wanted to point out to you on the community is this thing we just started called Intelligent Apps World. This is headed up by Martin Barkley, who is one of my teammates, and he's really the guy in charge of promoting all the store and the store apps. We've got one whole article in here, which is a welcome article, but it is a new forum we've started on the community all around showcasing intelligent apps from our partners, from our ISVs, that we want to get out there. So it looks like it's been pretty well received for being completely unannounced. I don't know if there's going to be a formal announcement. This is a see how it goes. Carolyn, good morning to you. Good to hear from Delaware. Aswin, good morning to you as well. Got my cup of tea ready to go. You know, I didn't realize this had printing on both sides till I just held it up to the camera. It says, I'm the dad of the family. I'm the dad. I wear the pants in the family, and the family makes fun of them. The tea is hot. Let's get going. We'll get to the other stuff later, but those are my announcements. Check out the Intelligent Apps World, and you can bookmark it. I believe there's a link. Let me just check. I thought I saw a short link in here. servicenow.com/Intelligent Apps World. What was it? What was it? It's in here. It's in here. It's in here. You can bookmark this. Oh, the heck with it. I'll just look for Intelligent Apps World. There. You can bookmark this. Let's give it a try. I am always one to test somebody else's links because people are always testing mine, and sometimes they don't work. ServiceNow, Intelligent Apps World, short link, redirect. You can feel the bits flying back and forth on the internet. And there it is. Okay, so works. Perfect. ServiceNow.com, Intelligent Apps World, as you see it right there. That would be your shortcut if you want to keep up to date on that. We have a number of things in the inbox that I'll be getting to. There's a couple from yesterday that I want to follow up on. And let's get started with some unsolved stuff in the community. I have no idea what I'm jumping into every day. Let's put the subtitle away. We don't need to know about Twitch anymore. I think you've all written that down plenty of times. Good morning, Stu from Stockholm. Good to see you again. Thank you for getting up. And, well, you didn't get up. It's like, what, mid-afternoon. It's 6 a.m. on a sunny, well, soon-to-be sunny, pleasant morning in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. So if you're tired of the snow, come on out for a visit. Be happy to see you. How to display a dialog box containing incidents once the user logs into the incident. Why does it have to be a dialog box? There is a reply on that. How can I use the script debugger for non-logged in user or guest user to debug a script include? I got an idea for you on that. ISO 8958 to UTF-8. Sounds like an integration question, but won't know till we look. One of these long descriptions that has the whole problem stated in it. Is there anyone else experiencing problems when importing the links from github.com into ServiceNow to complete the courses? Every time I go to fork on GitHub, click on clone or download button, click copy to clipboard and import. This is in ITOM. Let's see what's going on. Be sure, now a point of etiquette I haven't mentioned in quite a while, is when you post to the community, make sure you post to the right forum. So there are sub-communities within this for ITSM and ITOM and developers and. So if your question is related to performance analytics, you want to look for reporting and performance analytics, or performance analytics and reporting. I can't remember what it's called. Make sure that it's in the right community so you get the right eyeballs on it. If you use, I think it's the default of developer community, and it's about breakdowns in performance analytics, probably not going to get the best response. So for your best chance of getting the experts involved, make sure you post to the right area in the community. Let's take a look at, can I use the script? For my application, there are two separate flows for logged in and non-logged in users. How can I use the script debugger to debug the script include for non-logged in user? The workaround I was using is gslog or gserror, but it is time consuming. The script debugger doesn't allow you to do this because it's interactive, and if it's in the background for non-logged in users, the script debugger is meant to be used by the person who is logged in. When you say non-logged in users, are you referring to things like scheduled jobs? I think they did mention that in there. I should read it again. Scripting perfect. Nope. Okay. Jobs that run in the background, or guest accounts. You know what I noticed is the formatting on the editor doesn't necessarily coincide to the formatting that you see when it's presented. I discovered this yesterday in that I've naturally been hitting 2 returns. This is just a little community sidebar. Naturally hitting 2 returns and they go, oh no, look, the spacing is nice that way. But when it renders, it takes the space out. It's like it goes from a paragraph tag to a BR tag when you hit enter. So I am going to go back to 2 here. Should have stuck with my instincts. The nice thing about script includes is that you can unit test the functions all you want before putting them in, for calling them from UI actions, business rules, workflows, etc. See episode 6 of Tech Now. I was just discussing that with somebody else yesterday. Doing speaker reviews for, get that macro in there, doing speaker reviews for CreatorCon Developer Theater yesterday. Got some good sessions coming up, one of which is on script includes, by the way. So really, really looking forward to Knowledge. Except that it's such a busy time of year. What is the count now? 53 days to Knowledge? Even less if you're doing the pre-con training? I have a countdown timer here. Yes, it's 53 days till Knowledge. Which is appropriate that picture looks so startled. Like, oh my gosh, straighten the tie. It's coming up. If you are doing pre-con training, then it's more like 51 days. Lots of countdown timers on my phone. Keeps me alert. Lots to do. I have at least 2 major blocks of time of 2 or 3 hours each to work on knowledge stuff. All right, ISO 8859 UTF-8. I'm having an issue with incoming mail being in 8859.1 format instead of UTF-8. That means the characters get potentially garbled. For instance, the subject can look like this. My question is there a script to decode instead of trying to convert it to Windows 1252? I prefer the inbound action without resorting to regex. That is a good question. Let's do a little Google searching for this nice person. JavaScript, ISO 8859-1. Did I remember that number right? Yeah. To UTF-8. Look at that. It filled it in for me. Convert Stack Overflow. Always a wealth of resources there. I'm sending HTTP request, but the server which I have access returns 8859. My page is UTF-8. How can I convert the characters? I've tried this. One answer. Unescape URI components HX return. Try this trick shown in how do I convert special UTF-8 characters to their 8859.1 equivalent using JavaScript. Nobody really marked it correct. I'm going to go with that. Let's see what else is here. Node.js, force encoding, how do I convert? On GitHub, convert Node.js. All right, I am going to, it may not be the answer, but at least I can offer up a link. I found this on Stack Overflow. I'm not familiar with nor ever used the functions mentioned. Let us know how it goes. Stack Overflow, convert ISO 8859-1 to UTF-8. Link. Paste. Done. Boom. We need sound effects for that. How about this? That'll get old quick if I do that between articles. 2 p.m. in Stockholm. Stockholm is now 8 hours ahead of me. Really? Oh, that was 9. Have you changed your clocks yet, Stu? Do you change clocks in Sweden? Don't know. Is there anyone else experiencing problems importing links from GitHub to ServiceNow to complete courses? Import fails. I know I'm correct credentials, but fails for everyone. We have a reply for me. I'd be happy to test if you can include details of what you are trying. Where is the GitHub repo? Where did it originate? What instructions are you following to test this out? Why is it posted in ITOM? And who is buried in Grant's tomb? Okay, get message in a workflow. 2 replies. Fascinating. Let's dig in, see what they want to do. You can do a get message in a workflow. Trying to get a localized message in a script workflow activity. The problem is that when the platform runs a script, it's on server side, so the user that is running the get message function is system. This means that it doesn't get the local. Oh. Interesting. Could you please elaborate on your requirement? Provide screenshots if possible. Hey, were you able to resolve this? This was posted when? 5 months ago. And somebody is asking, were you able to resolve this? That is an intriguing question because the workflow is running as script. I thought, hold on now. I thought there was a property in the workflow editor that let you run a workflow as somebody, as the person. That might get a little weird in places. Let's find out. Slow browser, take a drink. Change on the 25th of March. Okay. So Sweden jumps ahead in a couple of weeks. About a week and a half. Let's take a look at, go away, floaty over tab. Filter workflows. Let's just create a new one. Bring up the properties for a new workflow. I know scheduled jobs you can run as a person. Related links, stages, default view, diagrammer view. Let's call this a simple demo. Table incident, of course. Incident gets picked on for everything. Incident. There we go. Don't need anything else. And I thought, properties, will just bring up the properties again. Publish, stages. Wow, it's either this computer or this instance that is being slow today. So let's look at all of this stuff. Some of it just disappeared on me because it's not applicable. Conditions, we already talked about conditions. Inputs, activities, no. There's no run as in here. The other option is to go to, let's take a look at the actual record for that. Close the workflow editor because it might not show there. Workflow versions. So under workflow version, where is it? All context, stages, workflow editor. Am I missing it somewhere? Did it disappear? Workflow versions. I thought it was just labeled versions, but okay. And take a look at what was created most recently. That would be my simple demo. I'm going to do a configure. You know, let's do form layout. That's a good way to see all the fields. Run after business rule, run multiple. Nope, I don't see a run as. Maybe it's labeled something else and I'm not catching it. Activity beginning of stages, check out, delivery, expected full if condition, journal max out, not catch order, duration. I would think it would be a reference field of some type. Stage rendering, no, no, and no. Okay. Workflows always run a system. So, what about it? Can we get the context for somebody to do a gs.get message to return the key for the right person? That one I don't know. It's a great question. Great question. Is there, the only other thing I can think of is if there is a, there's the search button I was looking for, impersonate. So like a GS impersonate? Documentation, API, impersonate, string sysuser ID. Aha. Could you impersonate, then get that string? New glide impersonate. User impersonate user ID. Sets the user ID the current administrator passes, enabling the administrator to act as that user. When impersonating another user, the administrator has access to exactly what the impersonator user would have access to in the system, including the same menus and modules. Only use this method when testing functionality in an application. Ensure that once you have finished impersonating a user, you call the method again with the administrator sysID to stop impersonation. Is impersonating. I'm going to pass along that as a possible way. I'm not going to recommend it as the way. I don't know if this is best practice or not for a production. The docs say to only do this when testing. Glide developer docs glide impersonate. Personate. Link. Paste. Done. There we go. I got one for you. Post. Better. Or you can query the message table to get the language. You'd have to know, you'd have to get the language of the user first. Yeah, I suppose you could do that with, no, because getMessage isn't, does getMessage take any additional arguments other than the key? I don't think it does. We are going down a rabbit hole on this, but this is the kind of discussions I like to have. If you, getMessage is simply going to say, go get me the message that corresponds to this key. So if I had like incident underscore opened and the message in that sysui message record said, congratulations, your incident has been opened. And I had one in English and in French. I'm running as Chuck. The workflow's running as system. The workflow doesn't have a way to say, oh, go get the message in English for that. It is, let's look that up. It's going to be under glide system. I don't know. I need to look this up. It also takes an array of arguments that you can pass to getMessage that it populates those. I wrote a blog article years ago about that. So you can do a callback. Retrieves a translated message, retrieves a set of messages. Well, let's see what we've got. Hopefully this doesn't steer me to the client side one. It did. All right, I don't want the client side one. I want the server side one. Am I still on I did, because it's got a callback. Get message. Unless you did that with a client side, but I don't know how you trigger the client side from a workflow. You should probably find out what the objective is. Why do you need that message? Okay, here we go. This is server side. It's also under legacy for whatever reason. You can pass it an optional list of strings defined by Java text message format. I usually do an array. There's an example of it, I thought. But see, all you pass is a key, and get message returns the string. Oh, that's interesting. They just passed that. Did they change the API on this? Hold on now. Okay, there's an object of args. Interesting. That's, huh. String of type message. It doesn't let you. Aspen, I'm not actually understanding where you would pass the language. I don't see any arguments that let you say, go get me this in French. It's not like syschoice where you could get it yourself. I mean, you could potentially query get message yourself instead of using get message. That might be an option. That might be an option. You know, just do a glide record lookup on sysui message. I like that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is good idea. Good idea. The NOWCommunity came up with this one. Thanks. I don't know if this still works. Come on, where's the app mentions? Anyway. You could write your own equivalent to get message that does a glide record query on sysui message and query for the key and the language. Of course, you would need to. Now, isn't there a is there a get language method to the get user object? Get user has all kinds of stuff that you can put in there. I do gs.getUser. It's got a lot of sub methods in there. Method get user. Like get department, get location. Waiting. Take a little drink. Okay, so get user returns this. I knew there'd be a sublink in here about get user. Probably should have scrolled down the index on the left. It would have been quicker. Rolling. Who's using up all my internet today? Many of these are available in other places as well. So you could do get user ID, get user name. Let's go down here. And I thought glide system. I thought there was a doc for get user. Yeah, that's not it. Where are all the additional subclasses listed? Like get department. Like that. Come on. No results. Get department ID. No results. No fun. Well, then I can't verify that it's there. Back to our message. get the language for the currently logged in user before passing it to your glad record query. Okay. I think I just came up with a new tradition. It's fun. It's like checking off checkboxes. SNC Guru has a good article on the user object. Interesting. The thing about SNC Guru, why can't I type Guru? URI came out instead. Tells you how many times I typed that. The information is starting to get a little dated on some of these past solutions. So you got to be really careful about what you get off of this site and other sites as well. I'm not just saying that as a ServiceNow employee. I'm saying as a developer that says, hey, here's a resource. And you look at this thing that was written in 2010, and it just doesn't work. So let's do a search, because APIs have changed. The UI has changed. It may be using DOM manipulation. Get user. User object cheat sheet. There we go. Holy small font. Let's make it a little bigger for us old guys. There we go. Get user by ID, get user name, display name, user ID, first name, last name, email, department, company, language. There it is. I knew it was there. Knew it was there. So let's go edit that response if I still have it. Did I close that tab? Horse hockey, I did. Maybe it's still near the top. UTF, populating user group, your get message. There it is. Oops, I meant to hit shift click. Oh well. Hey. Where's the, that's not it. How to use GS get message and workflow run script. I have a run script activity in my workflow where comments are being set to current comments request closed. Now I need to translate this comment as per user language. How do I achieve that? GS is a glide system object that is server-side by default one. Hence, you should have exited this function too. Do you want to translate this in real time? Because that, I mean, that's, If a person reads it in German, the comments are translated to German. If a fulfiller is reading it in Spanish, then comments are translated to Spanish. Is that the case? If so, you'll need to use Google Translate API to do this. I don't have a link to it. I've heard rumors of people doing it. Obviously, there is a fee for using Google Translate more than X number of times a day. I think it's 1,000 transactions, but you'll have to look. I was going to write an application one time just for fun where you put in song lyrics. I've done this manually. You put in song lyrics and then you translate them to like 17 different languages. I was going to write a ServiceNow script, a ServiceNow app to do this where you paste in, you give it a number of times you want to translate it, and it will pick randomly Chinese, Hebrew, English, Icelandic, and eventually get back to English and then read the song lyrics. They're hysterical when you do this manually, but it's a lot of copy and paste. I said, well, why not automate this? It's just another stupid thing I want to automate on ServiceNow. I never got around to that. I think it was the fee of Google Translate's API. I'm going to have to build that into a demo somewhere. That has to be done. That wasn't the article I was looking for, by the way. I am going to take probably the second half of this hour, I'd go through the inbox, wherever it went. Homepage, that's not my inbox. Oh, that's the one that I had before, was it not? GS get message in a workflow. There it is. Let's edit that. Oh, wait a minute. Is gs.getUserGetLanguage going to work? Because it's running, the workflow is running a system. It's just going to return whatever the system default is. I don't think that's going to help in this case. Okay. Inbox, 6 messages. Some of these are just randomly put there because I was part of a thread years ago. But there are a couple that I looked through this morning prior to the show that said I want to dig into those. Wow, something I answered 2 years ago. Yep, toString was the solution about a year ago. Was this a reply? No, that was a helpful. Okay, very nice. Import data from Google to ServiceNow. Somebody said, hey, how did you do this? And I had put a couple of links on Live Coding Happy Hour about OAuth. And the thread continues on about how did you do this. I am going to do something I rarely do. I am going to unsubscribe to that thread. It seems to have taken on a life of its own beyond what I was doing, and now I will not receive notifications. How do you manage audiovisual meeting room equipment? This was created about a month ago. Yes. Sorry for the scrolling. I know it's a bit irritating. Animations don't work that well, and motion is terrible on remote presentations. How do you manage your audiovisual or meeting room equipment, such as projector, screen, conference room equipment? Do you use a new asset class for them? And I had mentioned the loaner request system in here. Matthew responded about an hour ago. This is my second go around with AV and ServiceNow. Separate class is recommended because in most cases there are different teams servicing these issues. Also, Crestron, VC, and all other components have different life cycles. Firmware versions need to be tracked as well as bulb replacement and differentiating. That's helpful. Good information. Good information. Anupriya marked an answer as helpful. Customizing a label. Very nice. There's one down here on Ask the Experts. So Matthias yesterday asked a question about, we were talking about record producers and interceptors on TechNow in February, but our shortcut was on shortcut keys. And he said, wait a minute. Alt-G and Alt-C. Alt-C hides and shows and hides the bar, the navigation window in like this. And on my Mac, it's going to be Control-Option-C, but it does this kind of thing. Shrink. Well, it should have shrinked. There we go. Shrink and expand. Okay. Alt-C for him is a special character. Where'd my inbox go? There it is. And he says, that's no good. It gets me all confused. I can't type in a description box. I'll be typing along and when I need to make that special character that's used by Alt-C, my menu bar goes away. That's not what I want. So I checked in with our developers and found out that this is a known PRB and they are working to fix it in London. And the way it will behave, and this is kind of standard across a lot of web apps when they have shortcut keys, and I love shortcut keys. The less I have to reach for my mouse or move to a trackpad, the faster things go. I suspect many of you are the same way. When you're typing in a text box, shortcuts are disabled. When your focus is somewhere else, shortcuts will work. They're also creating a user preference so that the user can disable those shortcuts if they start to get in your way for anything else, such as conflicting with another application. I know this is the case with, say, Todoist. It defaults to, did it default or was it the one that I set? Anyway, it conflicted with something in the Finder on Mac. And I went, well, I can't get to my applications folder anymore because Todoist always wants to jump up and say, hey, you want to add a task? No, so I remapped that. Unfortunately, there's no remapping feature. That would be really nice if we could remap some of these things in ServiceNow. I'll have to throw that back at them. So just wanted to get that answer. He says, thank you very much. Looking to get that implemented. It will be in London, which is coming out in Q3 is all I can give you at this point because Kingston came out in Q1. There was another one down here about hard coding that I did not have a chance to respond to yet. So years ago, we did a video on TechNow about avoiding hard coding values using properties, gs.getProperty, and using the sysproperties table. This is it feels very common now, but when we did this several years ago in 2014, wow, time flies. TechNow's 5 years old now, by the way. Feels like a first-class citizen. He says, there is one inbound action to create a P2 incident or ServiceNow instance. The value of the user and requested by field is fixed with one specific user. Suppose next time I want to fix those values with another user, how can I avoid hard coding this? And I will reply to that. Okay. Create a system property of your choosing, like, let's see. Email. Here, my email requested by, or my email user, whatever. You could even do my .email.user and give it a sysID of the user you want. In your inbound script, wait for it, I'm getting to option 2. Hold on. In your inbound script, retrieve the value like this. Our user ID equals gs.getProperty, my email user. Okay. Option 2. Use the user ID and then retrieve the not the user ID. Yeah, use the user login. I always forget the name of that field. Is it username? I think it is. sysuser.list. Come on, browser. A squeaky little tricycle. That field. I think it's user underscore name. Now stop it. Yes, it is user under name. Okay. Use the user login name so the property is more readable than a sysID. Example, Tomasi. Then in your email script, retrieve the sysID there. Or even better, so using the username, use the user display value. Ooh. Like this, that's even better. And you must set the value requested by as like this. Current.requested by .set display value gs.getProperty my email user. gs.getProperty is going to return Tomasi, and set display value is going to turn it into a sysID which gets stored in requested by. The catch is you need all display values to be unique. If you have 2 John Smiths, or you may not get the right person. Okay. I don't suspect that will happen here since you are in control of the incoming email user. Okay. Low risk, but worth mentioning. Y'all get that? Kind of cool. All right. That, I believe... Now, where are these other 3 messages that it says are hanging out? I already... Maybe... Oh, you know what? That thing doesn't keep up. The little red notification is... I think I mentioned this already. It's woefully unattentive to what's going on. It's not in real time like the other community used to be. I equals 0. That is an awesome name. Hang on, I gotta look at this profile. It's just awesome. That's like NPE, null pointer exception or something. I don't know, I like nerdy handles. Struck me as funny this morning. I don't want to get rid of that window. I want to go to my email inbox. Still a couple things to look at there. Okay. Mark the blog is helpful. Thank you very much. Glenn replied to 8859 to UTF-8. I looked at the article as well, but it only addresses outbound files, not incoming mail. I'm trying to figure out a new service now has something out of the box that can override. Not that I know. I know you can recognize those formats in import sets, but that's a different beast than inbound email. Not that I am aware of. The box. This is one of those things, one of those tings, one of those things that you need to write yourself or put in an enhancement request. So in hopes that we create a library translate function for you. Okay. Good old enhancement URL. Reply. Wrong button. That one. Felt like you were listening in on a... how can I use a script debugger? Oh, that's the one that was written by I equals 0. I completely missed that this morning. Okay. Not referring to background jobs. It's a normal page hit, which in turn calls the script include. I want to check the non-logged in users, the non-logged in user code flow where it's failing. No other option other than log statements. Anyway, thanks for your quick reply. Yeah, if it's somebody else running the script, you're not going to be able to set a breakpoint or check variables. You can't set breakpoints on their instantiation of the code and display on yours. That made me think of something. I'd stick with... Could you impersonate and run the debugger? Who's the debugger available to? Debugger, debugging, debug security rules, script debugger. I'll check this module. It's under system diagnostics, so it's probably not going to be available to everybody. You got to have role script debugger to do that. Could. Link type. JavaScript window top launcher. Maybe. Where am I going with the inbox? You could give that person script debugger role, impersonate them, and see, and use the debugger that way. Otherwise, I'd stick with debug statements. Okay, reply. There we go. A little production value for this morning. Inbox is empty. We are coming up to the top of the hour. Let's see what else I have in here. How do I display a dialog box? Refresh that screen because it's been a while since I brought this up. I like to make sure that somebody hasn't answered this. 12 views. I think we had 6 before. 4 replies. I have a requirement which, if an ITIL user logs into ServiceNow instance, a pop-up window box will display showing the incident number which is assigned to the user. How can I do that? Write a UI script, create a dashboard that redirects to the page. I would use a dashboard or a home page. I would say create a home page, drag and drop my incidents, and yeah, that's kind of what they're for. Can you elaborate how I achieve it both ways? I would stay away from customization and use. I want it to appear as a pop-up menu so the user can get the window popped up once the user logs in. No, I would not. Oops, I don't want to reply to that one. This is one of those over customization. Don't think about it too hard. This sounds like one of those cases where someone says, wouldn't it be nice if? Based on my knowledge of the platform, this involves customization. That means development time and money, maintenance time and money, and testing time and money. That's a lot of time and money for a nice to have. My recommendation is to go back to the person making this requirement and let them know. That's a lot of effort and over time. There is a built-in solution. There is an out-of-box solution called home pages and dashboards that we can stick in front of the ITIL user's face when they first log in. That is easy to build, easy to configure. You don't even have to build it, and maintain. Just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you must do a thing. Just because somebody asks you, and you have to be careful how they ask you, hey, can we do this in ServiceNow? Doesn't mean we're going to do this in ServiceNow. The tea is cold. The tea is gone. It's time to get on with the rest of the show. What else did I bring up here that I wanted to look at? Community homepage. Don't need that. Let's do a quick refresh. See how this still says 6? That must refresh to get the inbox count accurate. Kind of makes me silly. We have, and it doesn't remember my URL. What's up with that? Okay, I'm just making notes, so when the community team says, how can we make life better? I will let them know. Okay, there's my response right at the top. On cell edit, how can I write validation based on another field value? Sounds like a glide record or a glide Ajax query to me, but let's find out more about what they want to do. As per the requirement, I need to populate state field based on the country value in list field. I have made a state field value dependent on a country field. Now the problem is state field shows all the drop-down options when the country is empty in the list view. I'm writing an on-cell script to resolve this issue. Basically, if country is empty, script will not allow state value submission. Now the challenge I'm facing is I am unable to get the country value with the on-cell with the get value because it's not working. Because it's not a form, that's why. Can't you do with on-change client script? I guess you can. What do you mean by GForm get value is not working? Please share the code. On-cell edit doesn't have access to the form. It gives you same control over the fields as a list, but you can't do conditional stuff like this. To fulfill the requirement, we need to, before insert update business rule, set the condition. You might want to take a look at Tech Now episode 33 and use a glide Ajax call in your on cell edit client script. You can retrieve the current value of the country field. By the way, as mentioned, when you are in a list, GForm, which works on the form, isn't available. That's why it doesn't work. And in case you didn't know, I ran into this a while ago. GForm, it seems obvious. GForm has access to what's available on the form. When your form loads, it sends all the HTML, all the JavaScript, all the CSS that the browser needs to do its job. If you don't have a field on the form, GForm doesn't have access to it. It's not like, hey, I have a field that's called the inspector. Well, inspector isn't on this particular view of the form. GForm underscore get value inspector isn't going to do you any good because inspector's not on the form. GForm is running on the client side. If the HTML wasn't sent over with that particular inspector field, it's got nothing to work on. So one option, which I don't condone all the time, is to put the inspector on the field and then hide it, or use the G scratchpad to send over the value of that field and let your client script access it through G scratchpad. Because it's not on the form, it's not going to change. I forgot what I was going to say now. There's your tip of the day. It's the top of the hour. I did not even mention, I apologize for this, that I invite you to go over to, where'd it go? Oh no, feedback detected. Stop detecting feedback. I might have the microphone input just a little high. I'll back that down tomorrow. So invite you to go over to, why is my key not working? Knowledge. If you haven't signed up for Knowledge, make sure you go over there, check it out. It's going to be a great time. Check the checkbox that says CreatorCon so you have access to go to all of the CreatorCon sessions as well. It's no additional cost. So thank you very much. The community is awful slow. The old one was faster. I would say it's faster in some respects, slower in others. I'm still getting around to it. So until tomorrow, I invite you to learn something. If you do learn something, we all learn something new every day, right? Just take it in stride. Share it with somebody, and that will help them. So I will see you all tomorrow. Wish you the best of days, and take care. Bye.